Okay, so if you're multiplying and your bases are the same, so they're both tens, you're going to take your exponents and you're going to add them. And so you'll do 10 plus 8, or 10 to the 8 plus negative 2 and get 10 to the 6. If you're dividing, you're going to subtract your exponents and it would be 10 to the 10th. So this one right here, the answer is going to be 10 to the 6. Okay. So chapter 2 does a whole lot of conversions. And so this says, answer the following question involving a conversion with the metric system. And it says a boat is moving at 41 miles per hour. What is the speed in knots or nautical miles per hour? Okay, the majority of you probably know nothing about nautical miles. I don't. I had to look it up, right? I know that 12 inches are in a foot, but I don't know anything about nautical miles. So I had to go to the internet and look up, well, give me some information about a nautical mile. And it said that 1 nautical mile is equal to 1.1508 miles. Okay, so I'm going to use that. I just made that. Let me get over here, because that's just ugly. So 1 nautical mile is equal to this. Now, so I'm going to use that fact to figure out what they're asking me. So this is an easy problem compared to what we're going to do on Friday. Okay, so this kind of is taking it like the easier ones, and we'll turn it up a notch on Friday. So I'm going to go a little slow on this. So it says a boat is moving at 41 miles per hour. This word per in math is always talking about divide. Okay, so I could rewrite 41 miles per hour as 41 miles divided by per hour. So that's going to happen, 41 miles is going to happen ever how many hours? Well, there's no number there in front of that, so it's just every 1 hour. So I changed this statement into a fraction, 41 miles per hour. Does everybody understand that part? All I've done is say we can go 41 miles in 1 hour, okay? Now, they want the answer, right? What is the speed in knots? And knots is, this is what knots is. So they want the answer to be nautical miles. Per means what? Divide. So nautical miles per every hour, right? They want that. That's what the answer is supposed to be, okay? So I'm going to have to use this right here to get that. Okay, and here's how you do that. We're going to put a multiplication sign, and then we're going to compare things. Miles needs to turn into nautical miles, right? Hours is fine. I don't need to do anything with hours. It's good to go, right? Okay, so I need some things to cancel out, and here's what I know. I know this statement right here. There's 1 nautical mile and 1.1508 miles. Now, I'm going to put, and I'll tell you why in a minute, I'm going to put the 1.1508 miles on the bottom. The reason I did that is because when you have something that's exactly the same on the top as the bottom, they cancel out. Okay, so this miles would cancel out with this miles, which is what I need to happen, because my answer is not in miles, it's in nautical miles, right? So that's why I chose to put that on the bottom, so that those would cancel out. What I'm going to choose to put on the top is the other fact, 1 nautical, I'm going to kind of abbreviate that, but 1 nautical mile. So I use this statement to make a fraction. I chose to put this on the bottom because the other one was on the top, so that the miles would cancel out, right? The miles are going to cancel out. And now I'm going to have 41 times 1, right? 41 times 1 gives me 41. 1 times 1.508 is just 1.1508. Y'all with me? And then my units, all the words I have left are nautical miles, which is what I need. And on the bottom, hours is what I have. Okay. Now, I'm almost done. None of the answers over here look like these answers right here do not look like this. So what do I need to do? I'm going to have to reduce this fraction, right? How are we going to do that? It's a division sign, so we're going to have to say, well, what is 41 divided by 1.1508? Okay, I'm going to have to type that in my calculator. 45 divided by 1.1508 ends up being, and it keeps going, but roughly 35.6. It doesn't come out even. There's some decimals after it, but I know that my answers are over here and they've rounded to one decimal place, so I can stop there. So that's why the answer is going to be A. So, okay. You can buy a hair product for 12 ounces a bottle for $4.80, 9 ounces for $3.51. What is the better deal? Okay, well, we kind of need to know how much each ounce is costing then, okay? So to figure that out, I want to figure out, well, I've got one of them's $4.80. I would need to divide that by how many ounces it is. So this is dollars, this is ounces. So if I do $4.80 divided by 12, I did this ahead of time. It gave me 0.40 cents per ounce. Okay, and how am I getting this second part? Because my units were dollars per ounce, right? I could still put dollars instead of cents here, but we know it's 40 cents instead of dollars. That's how we talk. But I just took the two numbers, divided, and then I divided my units. So I would have dollars per ounce, cents per ounce, okay? My other one is, well, it costs $3.50, and I bought 9, it's going to give me 9 ounces, so I would divide those. So my units I already know are going to be something, I think it's going to come out cents instead of dollars, but per ounce. And 351 divided by 9 ends up being 0.39. Okay, so looks like this is my better deal, right? Cheaper, 39 cents is cheaper than 40 cents, so the 9 ounce bottle is cheaper, right? Y'all good with that? Okay. Now here's another conversion. Okay, so they're telling us that we're starting out with 3.92 kilograms. Okay. If you're not real familiar with this stuff, you're going to have to look some things up. Okay. So I just got online and said, well, they want the answer to be in grams, because they're telling me that over here. They want the answer to be in grams. So that means that I've got to take kilograms and turn it to grams. So I've got to look up some kind of relationship with kilograms and grams. So I just did a search. I didn't, because I knew what the relationship was, but you could just do a search and say, how many kilograms are in a gram? Okay, and so we would write down, I'm going to write down, and so the first thing that came up on my computer when I did that is 1 gram is equal to 0.001 kilograms. Another thing you might come up with is 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. Either one of them would work, but you need to have some kind of relationship with these two units. That's the hardest part for people to figure out. What do I start? So if they want kilograms to turn into grams, you're going to have to look up, well, how many grams are in a kilogram, and have this statement. Got to know something about it. Okay, so we know we're fixing to do like we did on that problem before last. So guess what? I don't want my answer to be grams. I want my answer to be grams. I don't want it to be kilograms. So there's going to have to be something down here that's kilograms. Why? Because this kilograms is going to have to cancel out with this kilogram so that my answer is grams, right? And in order for this to be grams, there's going to have to be something with grams up there, or it's not going to work, right? Because the answer is in grams. So here's my statement. I know that 1 gram is 0.001 kilograms. And I got that from that statement I looked up, okay? This is not the only way to do this. You could have switched it, but anyway. With this fact, this is the way you would do it. Does everybody understand where I got that from? Okay, because this kilogram is going to cancel out with this kilogram. There's nothing on the bottom of this fraction. Sometimes I just put a 1 down there to hold the place. Okay, but those kilograms canceled out, which was good, because now on the top of my fraction, I just have 3.92, because 3.92 times 1 is just 3.92, right? And on the bottom of my fraction, I have 1 times 0.001, and I don't have any units left because those went away, so I really just have 0.001. So we're close, right? But what am I going to have to do with these two numbers? You got to divide them. It's not simplified. So you need to actually type in your calculator 3.92 divided by 0.001 to find the final answer, which ends up being 3,920. Okay. These should be easy for you guys. Multiplying fractions, 1 times 1, 1, right? 2 times 8, 16. Question about that? 7 times 5, 35. 3 times 4 is 12. This fraction is actually an improper fraction because it's top heavy. The number on the top is bigger than the one on the bottom. But in the lab, let me look at the answers. I think they want you to, they're not asking you to change it right now. So you can just leave it 35 over 12. 5 times 5, 25. 11 times 2, 22. This is also an improper fraction because the top is heavier than the bottom. If it asks you to change to a mixed number, we can talk about how to do that later, but we're good right now. Anybody have a question about those? That's pretty easy, I think. Okay, number 8. The average age of all horses in the country is 14.25 years. And they want to know, how do you read that? Most of you are really good about reading things that are before the decimal, okay? Like you know how to read the number before the decimal. Do we need to go over that? Like if it's 147 or 1,127, you're good at reading those numbers. It's what happens whenever, let's talk about, well, first off, when you see a decimal, you automatically say and. So it's 14 and then after the decimal place, this first number is a tenth. So you don't start with the ones place. You skip over the ones place, then you go the hundredths. If we had another decimal, I'll just put 0. That would be thousandths. And it's got a TH on the end. That's weird. If I had another 0, it would be 10 thousandths. Y'all getting the hang of this? What would the next 0 be? 100 thousandths. Me and my spelling, gotta watch out. Okay, what would the next one be? Millionths. Okay, if we had another 0, I'm not going to keep going, but millionths, and then it would be 10 millionths, and then 100 millionths, and then you keep. Okay, so those are what those numbers mean. So how would we read this? 14 and then you read this whole number. You would just say 25, just like you would read a regular number. But whatever the last place, that 5, whatever place the 5 is in, which is the hundredths place, right? That's what it's going to end up with. So 14 and 25 hundredths, which is going to be A. Let's look at another number real quick just to see if we can do it. If I want to read that number, I'm going to say 176, right? What's the decimal? And read it just like you would normally read a number, 374. But then I'm going to have to go, well, what's 3 decimal places? And I heard the right answer back here, but so it would be 374. And it doesn't matter what any of the rest of these numbers are. It's the last one. And the last one is in the thousandths place. So it would be 176 and 374 thousandths. This is a baby conversion, but we've got 54 feet, and we want the answer to be in what? Inches. They tell us that. 54 feet, turn it into inches. Well, I'm going to have to know some kind of relationship between feet and inches, right? What do y'all, you don't need to look this one up. How many inches are in a foot? So there's, I'm going to jot this down up here. There's 12 inches in 1 foot. I already know that, okay? So now, I'm going to have to multiply by something. What do I need to be gone? I need feet to be gone because it turns into inches. So in order for me to get feet gone, I've got to have something with feet down here so that it'll cancel out, right? It has to be on the bottom so it'll cancel out. And what does it say up here in front of feet? 1. Put that there, right? What's the only thing I can put up there that's left? 12 inches. Okay, don't make it harder than it is. You're going to use the fact you know to reduce this. So, and a lot of these you can just brainstorm and figure them out, but on Friday you won't be able to because they're going to get a lot more complicated, right? Okay, so I'm just showing you the baby steps. So the feet cancel out. A lot of people like to put a 1 under here just to hold that spot. 54 times 12, I'm going to have to type that in. So 54 times 12 ends up being 648. Do I have inches on the top like I said I needed? Yep, the only word left is inches, so we're good with that. On the bottom, I've got a 1. The word canceled out. 1 times 1 is 1. And so what's anything over 1 is just 1. So we could divide it, but we don't have to. 648 divided by 1 is just 648. So that one's done. Okay. We're starting out with 59 yards. That's a 9, not a 7. And we want our answer to be in inches. Okay, so we got a couple of things we could do. Some people might know off the bat, so we need a relationship. Does anybody can we go straight from yards to inches, or are we going to have to stop at feet in the middle? 1 yard. How many feet are in a yard? 3. How many inches are in a foot? 12. So can we just say that 1 yard is 36 inches? Is that okay? We could change it to feet and then change it to yards, but I think most of y'all would be able to, you could look up how many inches are in a yard and you could find this fact, right? Got, we need to get rid of, our answers in inches, and we need to get rid of yards. So guess what's going to have to come down here? Yards, because I need yards to cancel out, right? And one of them has to be on the top and one of them has to be on the bottom. Well, what's in front of yards in my statement? 1. And then the other statement is, whatever the other thing is, you have to put it on the top. And it's 36 inches. Is everybody okay with that? So my yards are going to cancel out. I'm going to do 59 times 36. And so I made a mistake because, right, all of the yards canceled out. So we don't have any units on the bottom. We just have 2,124 inches over 1, which is just 2,124. Okay. This one starts out with 192 inches. And it wants me to change it into feet. So I need some kind of statement about inches and feet. That's a great one. 12 inches is equal to 1 foot, right? We all know that statement, I think. 12 inches is in 1 foot. So where does the inches need to go if I want this inches to cut out, to be canceled out? On the bottom, right? Because that's the only way they'll cancel out. Well, what does it say about inches over here? There's 12 of them. The other thing it says over here is 1 foot. So 1 foot. The inches cancel out. I'm going to get 192 times 1, which is 192. And on the bottom, I'm left with 12. So I actually, to find the final answer, I'm actually going to need to go 192 divided by 12 and get 16. And so 16 feet. That's the answer. We're good? Okay. This one is 9 days. Okay, and they want me to take 9 days and they want me to turn it into how many hours? 24 hours. Can we do that? Okay, so I want days to turn into hours. So that means the days have to cancel out. So the days are going to end up being on the bottom of the fraction. So what do I know about days over here? There's 1. And so the other number is 24 hours. It would go on the top. The days cancel out. 9 times 24 ends up being 216. And on the bottom, I just have a 1, so I don't really have to worry about that. I didn't have to divide because there's just a 1 down there. Okay. But hopefully these examples will make it a little bit easier for you. This last little section is about rounding. So round to the nearest hundredths place, okay? And remember we had that list. So it goes, the first decimal is tenths, then it's hundredths. Sorry, I'm off the page. Then it's thousandths. Right, we could keep going. So if they want me to round it to the hundredths place, the hundredths place is going to be, this is the 3's the tenths, right? They're wanting me to stop at the hundredths place, which is the second one. So here's what I know about the answer. I'm not going to do anything to the 3. Okay, I might do something, well, I might have to do something to the 3 now that I'm looking at it. But we go straight to the 9, right? And we go, what are we going to do with that 9? Well, we've got to look next door. And that 9 has an 8 next to it. The 8 is bigger than 5. And if it's bigger than 5, it makes the 9 round up. So if the 9 rounds up, let's just start with the 8 is going to make the 9 round up to what? Well, where can 9 go after 10, right? So we would round the 9 up to a 10. But the deal is with this is kind of a special case. That's going to make the 3 round up to a 4. So the 8 made the 9 round up to a 10. And then the 10 made the 3 round up to a 4. That doesn't usually happen where it affects both of those, but okay. Round to the nearest thousands place. So this is the tenths, the hundredths, and so the 0 is actually in the thousandths. So what's next to the 0? 3. Is it 5 or bigger? No. So the 0 stays the same. We don't do anything to it. It's 0.330. We stop at the thousandths place. The answer is 0.330. Round to the nearest thousandth. So this is tenths, hundredths. They're wanting us to look at the 7. Okay, what's next to the 7? 8, and 8 is bigger than 5. So if it's bigger than 5, it's going to make me round up. If it's 5, let me rephrase that. If it's 5 or bigger, we round up, and so the 7 is going to become a 8. So 90298. That's going to be the answer. Okay. Round 93, and that's a big number, to the nearest 1. Okay, and so the nearest 1's place, let me make sure I'm looking at the right thing. 16. Yeah, they're just saying stop right here at the 1's place, at the 3. What's next to the 3? A 0? That's not 5 or bigger, so just 93, not negative 93. Okay, y'all good? Here we've got another, they want me to take 180 seconds and they want me to tell how many hours that is. So we're going to have to know some statement about seconds and hours. How about there's 60? This one's more difficult unless you actually know how many seconds are in an hour. There's 60 seconds in a minute. I know that. I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Well, this one's going to be turned up a notch, right? So first step, I need to get rid of seconds. So guess what? There's got to be some, because the answer is in hours. So there's got to be seconds on the bottom. Here's the only statement I have about seconds. So 60, right? I'm just using this statement. 60 seconds is going to give me 1 minute. Seconds cancel out. I'm good with that. But my answer is not in minutes, and it's in hours, right? So I got to do this again. I've got to put something that has minutes down here so that the minutes will cancel out. And so I'm going to use this statement to make that work. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. That's going to make that minutes cancel out. And now we're good. So we're going to do 180 times 1 times 1. So 180. 60 times 60 should be 3,600. And we're going to have to divide this one, right? 180 divided by 360. I mean, 3,600, 0.05. Can we divide? Y'all good? Okay, last question. And it said to round this to the nearest thousandths, and that right now I've got tenths, hundredths. So if I'm going to round it to the thousandths place, I'm going to put a 0 there to hold that spot, right? Because it was only rounded to the hundredths place, so I just added the 0 so I follow the directions. Okay, convert to Celsius, use the formula. So they're telling me that Celsius is 5/9 times F minus 32. Okay, and they gave us how many degrees it was Fahrenheit. So all you have to do is plug this in. So I started with 5/9 times, instead of F, what am I going to put? They told me what F is. What is it? 43. And then the rest of the formula says minus 32. Okay, you want to be careful about order of operations here because you're supposed to get rid of your parentheses before you multiply. If you type it in your if you're good at typing things in your calculator, you could possibly type this all in at once and it'll give you the right answer. I did add some calculator tips for the TI-84 on chapter 1 that helps you type in fractions. But it's a short video you can watch. But anyway, since I don't know if you have that, I'm going to get rid of 43 minus 32. 43 minus 32 ends up being 11. 5/9 times 11, and it's coming out as 55 divided by 9, which we can imagine. We can see that. So and they want us to simplify our answer to it says type an integer or decimal, round to the nearest tenth. So we want to round to 1 decimal place. So I'm getting 6.1 if I round to what it's telling me to round to. 1 decimal place.